Guys, before I begin this video, if you can, smash the like button and let's try and get 1,000 likes within 24 hours. I'd really appreciate it. We're back up in the algorithms now, so let's just try and continue that. Once again, I really appreciate everything. But do you remember the story from a few months back? This twinkle-toed teen, he filmed himself dancing with a pistol. He recorded it and the police got access to his video. And the police said it was he was boasting to his associates of his access to firearms. So the video showed him posing in a valley with a gun against a backdrop that could be from any home, with a bag for life and exercise equipment in the background. So for that incident, this kid was jailed for 3 years. And guess what he's ended up doing? He's ended up killing someone in prison, and now he's got done for murder. So a brutal attack within the walls of HMP Fosse Way near Leicester Ends shocked prison officials and the legal community. So the fatal assault led to the death of a 31-year-old inmate, Mahir Abdulrahman, who was violently beaten by 2 fellow prisoners, Ashirie Smith, the lad who's in the belly dancing, and his pal, Thierry Robinson. So the fatal incident, it occurred on August the 20th, 2024 at HMP Fosse Way. Now guys, I've got some CCTV footage of this incident, and first thing I want to comment on is check the fucking prison out. It looks like a posh hotel. No wonder everyone's fucking killing each other and ending up in prison if the atmosphere is like that. They got ping pong tables and all, like, you know. The other day we were talking about that girl over in Sri Lanka that's got done for the drugs, and they talk about hellhole prisons and how, you know, people want to get out of prisons, whereas here, fucking hell, they're making prisons like you wanna live there. 3 meals a day, fucking get a bit of education, chill out. Britain's fucked. Let me know what you think in the comments below with regards to this prison. I swear, man. Anyway, back to the story. So as I said, the fatal incident occurred at HMP Fosse Way, and CCTV footage revealed that Smith and Robinson entered Abdulrahman's cell at around 7:26 in the morning. What followed was a 37-second period of violence during which the victim was subjected to a savage beating. The pair then exited the cell. Smith briefly returned before finally leaving for good. So just minutes later, another inmate raised the alarm, and a prison officer who responded found Abdulrahman unresponsive. Despite immediate efforts by staff and paramedics, Abdulrahman was declared dead at around 8:44. Post-mortem examination revealed catastrophic internal injuries, extensive bruising, abrasions, fractured ribs, and which proved to be fatal in their nature. The severity of his injuries pointed to a sustained and deliberate assault, leaving no ambiguity in the minds of investigators and prosecutors. So why did these lads do this? So the court heard that Abdulrahman was subjected to taunts by Smith and the other inmate, Thierry Robinson, which ended up with Abdulrahman throwing a hot kettle at them. The next day, that's when Smith launched the fatal attack after a prison officer unlocked the cell door before continuing their rounds that morning. You got the CCTV footage which showed Robinson smirking in the corridor outside Smith's cell before emerging topless and entering Abdulrahman's cell. Smith and Robinson emerge and calmly walk away from the cell just 37 seconds later, leaving Abdulrahman to die. Smith was then seen to re-enter the cell and exit again shortly after having carried out the vicious assault. Police and ambulance crews were called and found Abdulrahman in cardiac arrest, but he could not be saved and died an hour later. Multiple sources in the prison stated that Mr. Abdulrahman was targeted by these guys and was harassed by them leading up to the days of the attack. He actually expressed fears for his safety and requested transfer to another cell the day before the incident, a request that went unfulfilled. So the trial took place at Leicester Crown Court and lasted several weeks. Prosecutors argue that the attack was premeditated, violent, and rooted in animosity that had been building over time. The evidence, including graphic CCTV footage, witness statements and medical findings, painted a damning picture of the two assailants. So let's go with the first one. So Ashirie Smith, he was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 17.5 years before eligibility for parole. The judge described his actions as calculated and callous. So as I said at the start of the video, he was in prison because of filming himself wearing a balaclava and waving a gun whilst dancing around. Police raided the home of Smith, who was then aged 17, in Birmingham, November 2023, and found a loaded pistol as well as the damning clips on his mobile phone. Officers had received intelligence ahead of the raid that he was keeping a firearm at his house. The dramatic bodycam footage showed armed officers slowly approaching his home at around 3:30 in the morning before smashing the window of his property's front door. Loud screaming was then heard as police shouted, "Armed police, come to the front of your house with nothing in your hand." During the raid, officers found a pistol loaded with 5 bullets underneath a mattress and arrested the teenager. Police then found the incriminated videos, which see Smith wearing a bally and a baseball cap and waving the weapon around while pointing at the camera. In another clip, the teenager is dancing and spinning around in circles as he holds the pistol like a Morris dancer. He's also seen emptying bullets from the gun towards the camera and brandishing the weapon and ammunition on a mattress. After his arrest, Smith admitted to possession of a firearm, and as I said, he was jailed for 3 years. Just 4 months before he killed Abdulrahman was the time he was sentenced. And then Smith's fellow defendant Robinson is believed to be in drill rap videos, and he performs under the name Trills, and he was previously subject to a missing persons appeal by Warwickshire Police back in 2019 when he was 15 years old. So Thierry, he was found not guilty of murder but found guilty of manslaughter, and he was sentenced to 11 years, with the court acknowledging his role in the fatal beating, even if it fell short of the legal threshold of murder. And then there was a third man who was acquitted of all charges. Though he was present in the cell block, Mr. Shan was basically said that he admitted that he had the opportunity to intervene and regretted not doing so. But as I said, he was acquitted of all charges. So Detective Inspector Mark Parrish led the Leicestershire Police investigation, described the assault as serious, sustained and senseless, and he commended the thorough work of his team and emphasised the importance of holding perpetrators accountable, even within the prison system. The prison director at HMP Fosse Way issued a public statement expressing condolences to Abdulrahman's family and promising internal reviews. He said this was a heinous act that should never have occurred. He said we are fully cooperating with the police and are reviewing all procedures to prevent such tragedies from happening again. The incident has raised pressing questions about the adequacy of prison safeguards, particularly regarding the treatment of vulnerable inmates and the responsiveness of staff to threats of violence. So what are the wider implications for violence and accountability in prison? So the case underscores long-standing concerns about inmate safety and the culture of violence within the British prison system. HMP Fosse Way, operated by Serco, is a new Category C facility intended to be a model of modern rehabilitation and security, but this high-profile murder casts shadows over its operations of being a modern rehabilitation and security. Now, as we saw videos, the place looks like a fucking hotel. What rehabilitation is going to be happening there? You know, there needs to be some form of punishment for crimes people have committed. The failure to act on Abdulrahman's safety concerns, including his direct request for cell transfer, sparked internal investigations and potential policy changes. Critics are arguing that understaffing, lack of training and a general culture of indifference in some private prison facilities create conditions ripe for such tragedies. Human rights organisations have also weighed in, calling for better protection mechanisms for at-risk inmates and stronger oversight of private prison operators. So the murder of Mahir Abdulrahman at HMP Fosse Way is a stark reminder that even with secure environments, justice and safety can be precarious. While the convictions of Ashirie Smith and Thierry Robinson offer a measure of justice, they cannot reverse the loss of life or undo the systematic failures that may have contributed to it. As inquiries continue, reforms are considered. The spotlight remains on HMP Fosse Way, not for its innovation, but the fatal violence that occurred behind its walls. Guys, let me know what you think with regards to this story and with regards to the prison system at this moment in time, because, as I said, providing facilities like this for people that are in prison, shouldn't the emphasis be done on the schools or the schooling system, the mainstream schools? I mean, my niece and nephew, they go to schools and they got fuck all facilities. Like, shouldn't it be there where, I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below.